Crack open my Heineken. It smell like dope. I gotta have it fresh, so I go to the Saints Club 20.
It started. Man, we back in the house rocking red. It is Friday.
Happy
What's up?
Friday, man.
Friday. Hey, I'm gonna do just like the intro, and I'm gonna crack open the Heineken, and hopefully it smells. Yeah, smell like Joe. Yes, it does. All right, well that's
Yeah.
good. Hey, man, how's it been? I've been grind. I've been in the grind, so this gonna be Brian most of the day, y'all, because he been actually paying attention. Besides the Killing Fields, I watched the Killing Fields now. Man, I woke back up after I fell asleep on episode 2 and finished it. But yeah, all right, so let's just start right there, Brian. The Killing Fields.
Well,
You lived around here around that time? I didn't move here till 89, and I probably wasn't paying attention to Texas till mid-90s when I actually felt like Texas. So I could have saw it on the news and not even saw it. But how do you remember any of those stories?
I'll give a real quick overview for people who don't know. If you haven't seen one of the mini movies or documentaries that's been made, it took them a long time to get to that. But in the last 5 or 10 years, they've made movie. They've made this documentary series. There's been a few other documentary series. I got one on A&E. I bought a DVD back in the late 90s from A&E. They were the first people that I saw that did a story on this. And that's when League City was half the size that it is now. So we were really kind of a small town compared to now. But anyway, long story short, since the early 1970s through I'd say the mid to late 90s, there were around 30 something women from Galveston to Houston, maybe South Houston, mostly within the League City area down to Texas City, a few down on the Causeway. Bodies of women were found, and a lot of them were not followed up on the way that they do today. But if back then in the 70s, a lot of kids ran away from home. The police didn't really, they're like, oh, your kids just ran away, don't worry about it. And they hitchhiked, whatever. So there was not a lot of emphasis, or more than that, the local communities, the local police stations didn't interact with each other to even realize how many.
That was the biggest problem. That was the biggest problem, I think.
Texas City wasn't talking to League City, wasn't talking to Galveston, wasn't talking to Houston. But at some point, when they found 4 bodies in League City off Calder Road, which is what they call the Killing Fields, that's what the main stories are all about, is that particular area. But it branches off into others. But there were 4 young women who were found, died, found in this field, laid there at different times. Some were found in the mid 80s. Some, I may be getting the dates wrong. I'm just trying to throw it out there.
Started from the 70s. I think it started in 77 and went all the way up to like 96, somewhere around now.
But you've seen the whole documentary now, and you know that in the recent years, through forensics, mostly the ancestry and things like that, they were able to find and identify the Jane Doe and the Janet Doe. Figure out who they were.
All right. So I'm gonna ask you the question that I asked somebody online. I think it was I forgot who I asked online, but I asked him the same thing. He felt like me. Did you feel like the stepdaughter was laying it on a little thick?
Stepdaughter?
Yeah, the one who was
the blonde, the one who said she was
with the pool incident. Did you think she was laying it on a little thick? I'm not saying that she was lying about anything, but does it seem like she was pushing the narrative because she knew some facts to be maybe just? I just got that feeling about her. Like I'm not negating that anything happened to her, but if I get that feeling like, oh, I just think you're maybe pushing a fact or two, maybe not fully lying, but you're just moving that fact a little bit, because you know how a person was. And I asked somebody online and they agree with me. Yeah, they thought she was laying on a little thick. But I just want to know what you think, not swaying your opinion.
I hadn't thought about that too much. But now that you mention it, I know what you're saying, and just in the way she explained things. And like you said, the emphasis she put on things. But I'll be honest with you. I feel like I have met her before. That's the thing that got me. I was like, familiar. I feel like I know her.
Good boy, hey.
And I think somebody else said they knew her too, and I don't know from where, but that was the whole
thing.
That distracted me a little bit. I was like, where do I know her from?
You know where I think I knew her from? I think I did. I think I ain't gonna say where she lives, but I think I did an estimate on her house, and she was quite chatty and kind of emotional, just like she was on the thing. I'm not even gonna like put her out there, but yeah, I think I did an estimate on the house, and I'm not talking about years and years ago. I'm talking about in the last 8 months. I did an estimate on the house. That's why I was fresh in my head. I know
Yeah.
I've done sales around here for too long not to know almost everybody. So, but yeah, I did think I thought I knew her too. I didn't, the name didn't just like, ooh, that's her. But I'm like, man, I swear that she's kind of got one of those faces. But yeah, I agree. I think I did know her too. I'm not gonna, try to recall a name, and I'm not good on a name recall, but a face I don't forget.
Yeah. So once I figure that out, I'll let you know, where it might hit me, and I'll be like, that's where I know her from. And I might be able to answer your question.
Is it going to be like one of those Friday nights? Yeah, I remember her. Is it going to be one of those?
No, man, I don't think so. But who knows? Who knows? But she looked familiar. And that's the thing. She might have looked like a girl I dated in the past. It might not be her. I don't know. But
I could have it wrong. I had a thing with blondes where I couldn't remember blondes for the longest. Like if she was blonde, I would mix them. I don't care if you're a movie star. I just didn't have a blonde card in me. I'm on the interracial spectrum right now, so I understand it now.
But she did. There was something about the way she presented that story, I guess. If you,
the way
maybe
she presented it,
dramatic, or she.
It wasn't dramatic. It was overly detailed.
Yeah.
And overly detailed to me after 30 years is a little hard to believe. And then it's kind of like she was crying more than the parents that lost their kids. She shed more tears than the parents who lost their kids. They lost a whole person. That hurts forever. I'm not saying molestation don't hurt, but as far as I read, he didn't actually molest her. He, revealed himself or exposed himself. But them tears was a little big for just getting exposed. I
need to watch it again.
Yeah, and I'm not saying she didn't. I don't even want to put it because people gonna get mad at us. Y'all, you were what they call an apologizer. You call it what you want to, but I'm just saying it did seem like let's put it like this. In my 40-something 6 years of living, I've been in a relationship with females who've been raped, and I've been in ones who lie about the rape and then you find out later, and I've been with ones who hadn't been raped. Dramatic difference in all three of those females. The one who lies about the rape and act like it doesn't happen, that one is probably the most disturbing, and tries to just keep her life moving like it didn't happen. But they will not talk about it in such a crying, it hurt me way. They just trying to keep it moving. But those are the ones that's the scariest. The ones that I feel like kind of go further are the ones that something happened to them, but they want to make it even more to get that kind of victim mentality going so that everybody feels sorry for them. But they use it in I never can get over it. It's always killing me. No matter when you ask me, oh my God, it's never, I'm still not over it. And no matter how the degree is, and like I say, I'm not trying to apologize for anybody being raped or being a rape apologist or whatever. I've been called that many times. All I'm saying is I know a lot of people who've been in situations like that. I got a friend that's a registered sex offender, and he was out there messing with prostitutes, and she just so happened to be 17. Something happened to where she turned him in. He's a sex offender, but she was a prostitute. It wasn't even about kids. It was about prostitution at that point. Not taking anything from what, his situation, but I've just seen so many situations where it seemed like it was a little more laid on thick. Like the girl went and reported him, but she didn't say she was out there prostitute. They came and picked him up. He served the time. Her prostitution. I actually went and found her. Like, look, she's a prostitute. They was like, don't matter. Like, so.
Maybe that's wrong. I might get some grief from that.
It was dead wrong.
And I'm not I don't. It was dead wrong. Going to see.
It was one of those things when like I say, when you find yourself defending a sex offender, people are like, oh, how do you defend a sex offender? First of all, that was my boy, and I know the situation. And I actually found her out there hooking. Hey, I went out there and found her as a hooker. You know what they told me? Oh, well, she's 18 now. We already got it on record. So it doesn't matter. The state took the case over. And I was just like, what? Hey, what? She's still out there hooking. She tried to get me. Like, that's how much I knew about the story. I can identify her, and I want to try to find. That's how much I love my boy. I was trying to, you know what I'm saying, get him free and clear. That I had to, tell that to his mama and tell that to his brother, and that wasn't easy conversations, man. And but it was one of those things when you realize that it's not as black and white as it seems sometimes.
No, and you're absolutely right about that. And before we start tearing people apart, we should always know the facts about that. But I have to tell you, I got to tell you this though about about Clyde Hendricks, the person who you're talking about.
Yes, okay,
Now you remember what he looked like when he was younger in those pictures. He was kind of handsome, and then later on,
I'm not going to call that man handsome. Not right. No, I'm not.
Well, no, I'm only saying that because later on, his jaw was really messed up.
He went through some things. I got you.
I'm not sure that he didn't live down the street from me when I was a kid because, and I'm going to tell you something, there was a guy that lived about 6 houses down across the street who looked just like that guy. He lived there with his family. I had a nightmare when I was a child. The guy scared me for some reason. He just creeped me out. I had a nightmare when I was a kid that he kidnapped me and put me in the trunk of a car. And it's one of those nightmares that I've never forgotten. And I remember the guy. I don't know his name, and I don't know that it was him, but he sure looked like him. And I didn't put it together until last night. I was like, I think that guy might have lived down the street, and I think that's the guy I was scared of.
I mean,
I might be wrong.
Two things is, I'm not gonna say I ain't never seen a guy that looks like him because he got that look. It was a look. I don't know if everybody was going for that look, but the white shirt with the black hat with the little band around and the beard, and that was a look. It was a thing. So it's like trying to identify a bald head brother in the 90s. Like, you gonna hit a lot. But the fact that you have had a dream about somebody who didn't do anything to you.
I remembered it.
That's fine.
I was like 7 years old, maybe. I mean, and it's one of those things. I woke up in the middle of the night, scared as hell, and I never forgot it. And I was and they moved away.
And kids are, when you're a kid, you're more in tune to how you feel because you don't have the whole world telling you don't feel like that. You feel it, you remember it, but it sticks in your memory hard. I'm going to say that kid intuition is stronger than just about any intuition. That's why God tells you to come to him as a child, because that intuition is much better. But the fact that, I mean, you never saw this guy do anything. You never saw him dead scared. That's different.
I'm not going to lie, man. They were a dirty, scary family down the street, like the kind where you walk in the house and there's roaches everywhere. And there's not, I mean, God knows, I'm not, I don't have a problem with them being that way, but it was like the family with your kids did, or your parents are like, don't go play with those kids, that kind of thing. Or, don't go hang out over there. We're not really sure about the parents over there.
Yeah. Me as a kid, I was real rebellious. We had a family that lived down the street like that. Had a brother named Stinky. Me and Stinky often fought. But I also lost my virginity to Stinky's sister. So shout out to me. I'm just saying. I was in it was like 13. I was in a school with no advanced classes. I was in the 4th grade with 5th graders. And she was like a 5th grader held back twice. So I was supposed to hang around them, but I lost my virginity to her. So, shout out to them.
Big shout out to them.
But like I say, I don't think it was just the roaches in the family. That wouldn't make you scared of the dad. It's something.
There is something else.
That's a vibe. Yeah, man. I run across people these days, and my wife be like, "You crazy?" I'd be like, "Man, let me get back over here. She a freak." And she keep looking over here, like, "Nope." Later on, she be like, "She showed." I do not. Whatever I feel inside of me, you could try to negate it, but I don't know you from Adam. If I get that vibe, I get that vibe. You should probably change your frequency if it's not you. But
aren't you always right when you have that feeling about somebody? Aren't you right 100% of the time?
And boy, when you're not right, when you go against it, I'm not gonna say when you're not right. When you're right and you go against it, ooh, you talking about the blues. Oh, make me go get my Betty harmonica and blow. I'm telling
Yeah.
you right now, it'll give you the blues anytime. That's when I really feel like that's how people get beat down. It's when you stay with that person, or like it's like you having that feeling, then all of a sudden you go over there to play and you end up butt naked in your tighty whities in the middle of a camera with him. It's like, man, I knew he was wrong. I knew he was wrong. I shouldn't have been here. But man, all right, but yeah, all right. We both agree we might have knew him and her. That I think everybody in League City gonna feel like that watching this.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's the thing. I actually didn't recognize a lot of the places that they used in some of these overhead shots. I think some of them were accurate. Some of those places I don't even know if they even were in League City, but one of the places that shows up a lot is that gas station next to the Taco Bell.
That one right there got me, man.
That's where a couple of the girls were abducted from, is that payphone there, which I've used when I was in high school. And
I've used it, sure. Yes. Everybody use it. That was like the beeper payphone for the 90s. Yes. That's where you beat people from.
That's where
everybody. That was the beeper payphone. You beat people from there because all you got to do, man, I'm up here by the Taco Bell. Boom, they knew where you was. You didn't even say the store. You said I'm across the street from the Taco Bell. It's like, and that was
the I-45 or whatever.
Yes. It was the store. Everybody stopped there. If you had to page somebody, it was the easy spot. It was also where, if you got your little green, that's where you were gonna meet them at.
Yeah, I get my haircut at the barber shop next to the Waffle House on the other side.
On the other side, I was gonna say, nobody ever says the Waffle House. There's Waffle House right on the other side. Nobody ever says that, the Waffle House.
Well, I don't think that was there when we were in high school. It was a Toddle House.
Was it?
A Toddle House.
It was a Toddle House? I didn't think so. I went to that. It's not my best Waffle House either. I didn't have the best experience. But I went to
I like the Webster.
No. You got to go to that Nassau Road one. And that's the only one that's busting right here. That's the only one. I'm telling you, like, they got this one in Dickinson and it was good. And people can take offense if you want to, but if my cook didn't get out the pen, if they ain't got no teeth missing and no tattoos, I don't want them cooking for me. I'm just straight up. I'm telling you, I want me a penitentiary cook, somebody who got the culinary arts behind bars. That boy can burn. That girl can burn. And I got my food gentrified one time, and oh man, I'm so mad. I was like, oh, she white girl, I ain't gonna, go ahead. Yeah. And I got specifics. I eat it the same way every time. So if you mess it up, I know. I don't deviate. I eat the same thing every time, no matter what Waffle House I go to. If you mess it up, what do you get? Okay, well, I gotta have the patty melt, one piece of cheese because I'm lactose intolerant. I need my onion sauteed hard. I need it scattered and covered with the tomatoes and the cheese on them hash browns. And I don't need no Waffle House sauce. I need the mayonnaise pack, regular mayonnaise, and I need me a glass of Hawaiian punch, no ice, and
wow, that's specific.
And a waffle on the side. That
sounds like a nap after that, man. Oh, that sounds like that kind of breakfast you go eat back to bed.
Yeah,
jeez. I might go there tomorrow.
Man, most of the time I eat that at night. It's I love breakfast, but I call it breakfast dinner. Some people call it dinner breakfast, whatever you want to call it. But I like to eat breakfast in the middle of the night. I'll eat a waffle. Matter of fact, my wife made waffles earlier today, and I didn't get a chance to eat it. I was eating tortas. I'm probably gonna mess up one of them waffles while I go to sleep tonight.
Go, man. But go ahead. So that's one thing.
That's one thing. What else we got? Before we run it all out on League City? What else?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I can't remember in the longest time a week that had this much crazy stuff happen in the news, it seems like. And I don't know how much of it you were
paying attention to. I was so busy, but I did catch the big ones. I caught the 2 volcanic eruptions. I caught Kanye and the white nationalists at the Trump dinner, just briefly. I caught the other thing is the virus, they brought out the ice caps. Now, I got a question about that. I know heat, you get so hot, you burn them all up. But isn't it a freeze temperature that kills them too? No?
I really don't know anything more about that other than I saw it and I go, here's some crazy shit for you, Kareem. Here you go. And then you're like, well, tell me about it. And I look at it. I go, well, actually, they're saying this doesn't affect anything but single cell organisms.
Thank you.
Really, this was just a headline to scare people.
Yeah, it's clickbait. It's clickbite. It's like, oh, we just
zombie virus.
It's like discovering life on Mars, and it's like a meabite or some little organism, something that we can't even. It looks like a net, and you're just like, oh, we found life on Mars. That's not life. No, you
Nothing to
found
worry about.
something that moves and grows on Mars. It's not life. It's not like you found Jeffersons on the Mars or Johnsons, or you found a whole family of lions, or two
Yeah.
tigers playing spades. Nothing.
No, it turned out to be nothing. And I was like, oh, well, there we go. That's just more clickbait.
Yeah.
They call it
But
a zombie virus, I guess, because
that's
it
what
was
got me when I
dead.
saw the zombie. I'm like, zombie, what?
Because it had been dormant for so long. So now the polar ice caps melt and now it's around, but it doesn't affect you. So
And
I don't know. The
anytime I see
remains,
zombies, I think about the 12 gauge shells I got. They're called zombie killers. That's
what they
I'm just like,
say.
ooh, I get to use the zombie killers.
Yeah. So I don't know. Kanye's done, he's been busy this week doing
Yeah,
and saying a lot of things. And I honestly don't know what I think anymore about. I really don't know what I think about him
I
anymore.
honestly said I don't even. He's to the point to where uh him, like, I can only give you so much. I don't care who you are. I can only, and you only got so much idiocy. And he passed that line a long time ago with me, like way long before this anti-Semite stuff. I was done at the doggone the slavery was a choice. When he said that, what? Don't you ever call yourself, bro? You gonna say the actual word slavery that means you didn't have no choice, and you gonna say it was a choice. Like, oh, bro, who are you appealing to? Like, I was done right there. I don't care who you are as a black person. If you roll with him after that, you better know him as a cousin, know him as a brother. As I can understand knowing somebody and be like, he just crazy, he all right. But nah, I don't know him like that. And you can't say that around me, bro. Talking about slavery was a choice. Like, so you thought them chains was just for play? Cutting off foot. Did you see Kuta Kinte jumping on one foot after they cut his foot off? Like, come on, bro. Like,
I
so
think his biggest problem, honestly, is the things he says. He's not good at whatever it is he's trying to say. He's not good at communicating it, and I've heard many people say that, and that's why he blurts out things, and I don't think any of them are good. But if there was any argument for what he was saying, he could explain it better. But I think that's where he
he's
really burns himself, as he
he's
says
in a manic
outlandish
state, bro.
things.
I've seen it before. It's called a manic state. Like, it's what bipolar people do. It's not that they're saying something wrong. It's the way they say it, and this grandeur they say it in. They always have this grandeur in their voice, like it's the biggest thing happening in their life, your life, and anybody's life, and it comes across. It's just it's weird, and it just doesn't. And it's not like you say. It's not what he's saying, but it's the way he's delivering it. And he doesn't get it. Like, you a calm person with some knowledge to drops it calmly. If you're dropping knowledge, you wouldn't be all over the place like that. Person who dropped knowledge ain't screaming about his baby mama in the same voice and then start praying about Jesus, then jump out the prayer and then start talking about Balenciaga. Like, come on, bro. You have to stick with one emotion long enough for me to even feel you. And that's what I'd like to say. I was married to that. And I remember trying to make sense out of somebody who's manic. And I spent a whole 10 years of my life trying to make sense out of somebody. Well, I say 5 years. God told me after 5 years. And I literally ignored God for 5 years and tried to pay attention to what my heart said. And I realized your heart can be totally wrong. If God said no, you better listen to God, because your heart eventually will get broke, but God will not.
Well,
And manic people, he's manic, bro. And that's but like you say, it's not like everything he's saying is wrong or stupid. Some of the stuff is just how he said it was stupid, but he's saying good stuff most of the time, except for all that.
I've believed since he started that he was a textbook narcissist,
Oh,
one
yes.
of the biggest ones. And that was first and foremost what I've always believed about Kanye. So all of this that he's doing now is just an extension of that, I think. Do you know who Tim Pool is by any chance?
No.
I've been watching, he has
Familiar,
a couple of podcasts. He's got a few shows. I've been watching him for
he
about
sounds familiar though. I might know him if I saw his face. I'm not,
yeah.
big with names. Faces.
He wears a beanie like this all the time. Like, literally, I've never seen him without a beanie. He wears a black beanie. He's a white dude from Chicago, but he will tell you he actually is half Korean. But that's neither here nor there. He's a political guy, but I basically, when the world went crazy a couple of years ago, I found him and I started watching him. And what I liked about him was that he had, I don't necessarily like him or his ways, but he, with the guests he would bring on, he would bring on anybody and everybody from whatever side. And I liked that about him, the discussions that other people had. But
Yeah,
he got Kanye on the other day, and the interview lasted 12 minutes before Kanye walked out. That was when I think I sent that to you.
yeah,
Maybe not.
yeah. You
And
just said
that was
Kanye West.
just because Tim refused to say the J word and have that conversation.
Oh,
Because Kanye was
wow.
trying to
The
lead him
J
down
word.
that.
I had to think like, what?
I know, and
I
that's
got
how
N
I'm
and
going right
L.
now.
When you
It's like
said J, I'm like, oh, they're eating up the letters now.
I feel like I should say it that way at this point. But he had that guy Nick Fuentes on there, who's, from what I can tell, a white. I've never heard anything good from him. I do believe he's a white supremacist of some
Yeah,
sort.
he is. I mean, but like white supremacists are not on my radar. Like, you can go do what you're gonna do because we ain't gonna cross circles nowhere. So go
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, I've just heard about him. I don't think I've ever watched him for long, but I've seen little snippets of him. I don't care for him, but he had that guy, and then Milo Yiannopoulos. If you may know who he is, he's another person who's been called a white supremacist. I don't know, just some very weird characters. Like, if you think
That's a
hanging
heck
out
of a
with Trump
lineup.
was crazy, these people are more extreme than Trump. And then so
Yeah.
Kanye grabs those two guys, and those are the two guys that he met with Trump with. Then after that, he goes on the Tim Pool show with those two guys, and then walks out after 12 minutes. Later on, yesterday or the day before, he goes on Alex Jones. I know you know who he is.
Yeah.
And
That's the big
the
million. That's
outcome
the
of
billion dollar man.
that was that people that hate him were actually defending him over Kanye, because what Kanye said was so damn ridiculous and crazy that even Alex Jones was like, dude, you need to chill out with what are you talking about? Like, so he's gone that far. And
Wow.
he was wearing a Balenciaga mask like
I
this.
saw.
Did you see it?
Oh, okay.
Like,
He was pulling the mask thing.
covering his entire face with
Oh,
nothing.
did you not see him at what was it? Maybe the BET Awards? Maybe the BET Awards. Oh, I'm talking about full black. He was in a mask so thick, he's standing up there at the microphone trying to talk, and he's breathing hard because it looks like he's got these big, huge boots, his big, huge jacket, and it's probably freezing in there because it's stars and they want him all to look good and I don't know nipples buoyant or whatever, but but he was breathing hard because he's standing in one place, but he's got this stupid mask on, and it's just like, dude, I just have no respect for somebody who stunts like that. Like, dude, you can stunt on your money, you can stunt on women, you can stunt on your do it all that. All right, bro, that's cool. But when you just like pull stunt after stunt after stunt, you're already a millionaire. You got talent. Just do what you do. You don't need the stunts. The stunts to me is the manic behavior and is the narcissism, like you said. It's like I can't get down with that, dude. I got 6 daughters. I've been said me don't matter a long time ago. So after you raise kids, you realize you don't matter. It's about other things. It's bigger than you. And he got 4 kids, bro, and he still don't realize it's bigger than him. I don't care about what you do in your man. When you got 4 kids, it is bigger than you. I don't care who you are and who those kids, what they plan to do. It's bigger than you. And those kids are little kids, man. My kid's grown. I didn't serve my time. My kid's grown. All I gotta do is get Ash a jump shot better and show him how to stiff arm better, and that's all. That's all I got left to do.
Yeah. Hey, what happened with that game?
Oh, it wasn't that good. Started out pretty good, I think. I mean, they came back. They made it respectful. I think it was like 31-22. It's basketball. This is his first season. Football, we got like 4 seasons in AAU. So, he on top of he's a star player on football team. Some of these same players that's half his height and they're on the basketball court, them the boys got some handles.
Yeah.
And he's got to slow his game down to get it. But I think they lost by 8. But it started off, they were winning, and then the other team just started raining threes, dude. It was. I'm like, oh, they got. Pardon my French, but they got little Asian boys out there popping little rain. He looked like he was from maybe Pakistani, but they was 2 of them on the team just raining threes. I'm like, oh, look, they stroking, but so they went on 12-15-0 run on them, threw the game out, but they came back and made it respectable within 8. And it's the first game, and it's 7th grade. Pretty much all these kids are either waiting on a growth spurt or trying to find their legs. So you don't expect much from them. 8th grade, and we waited for that 8th grade though. But hey, he got in. He made a couple plays, but no points, and I think they lost by 8. So
I got to do this. Sorry, I'm jumping up. I grabbed.
I'm gonna do this while he do this.
Viewers.
It's been a long
Grabbed
time.
something for our viewers the other day because we talk about high school a lot. And I was like, man, let me go ahead and find the old yearbook.
You found a yearbook.
I want to show the world Kareem Rocker.
What you got? No. Tell me I'm not in that yearbook. Not a clip.
Yes, you are.
Picture. Oh my God.
Hey,
oh
man,
my
but
Jesus.
they called you Kareem with an N at the end.
Oh yeah, they had it spelled wrong. Yeah, it's totally spelled wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Good Jesus. Dude, what is that? A Chicago Bulls jersey? What is that?
I got Chicago Bulls jersey.
It looks like a Chicago Bulls jersey. I mean, it was the Jordan era. That's what you wore. Oh wow. I mean, and you know what? Like, what year is that? Jeez.
This is your class of 95. This was the 93-94 yearbook. I'm a freshman.
Oh my goodness. Like 93, 94, man, dude. That's like, all right. So 93, 94 is like the year, just last year I went to Creek. I got kicked out. Shortly after that yearbook picture, I was kicked out. And if you know the story, you know the story. Maybe we'll reveal that one day on here, and we'll dive into why we robbed Kill Creek. But that was a whole different story. But
why you what? I don't know if you can see me or not.
Man,
I'm in this.
Whoa, dude, bruh. You know what? We've changed. You ever see yourself and be like, man, why didn't somebody give me a sandwich? I'm so skinny.
You're a bit skinnier. I mean, no,
man,
you're
skinnier. I was a lot skinnier, dude. I didn't hit my grown man, as they say, till I was a grown man. I was probably, I think I hit puberty at about 26, 27.
Yeah.
I was about 26, 27 when I hit puberty.
I'm a little bit of a late bloomer too. I was like the shortest kid for a long time, and now I'm like average height, but I was always the littlest kid until I hit puberty, and then I just became average, which is better than smallest. So
much better.
We've told all these stories. I was like,
you flashed me back on that one. Yeah. Wow. That's a picture that, some things you like brought to the forefront when you see some things, just like, wow, a Chicago Bulls, like, I forgot at that time, if you wasn't a Bulls fan, you just wasn't a basketball fan. It's what everybody wore. I mean, it was the Jordan years. If you wasn't riding with him, I don't know who you was riding with. It was either him or Dennis Rodman, maybe.
Yeah. Didn't the Rockets win the championship that year?
They come back 95 and 96 because I was actually not in Houston for both of their championships. I was in New Orleans working, and I was for the second one I was in Atlanta. I moved to I roofed in New Orleans almost every summer. So I always went back to New Orleans for the summer, and I moved to Atlanta in 95, and then I moved in late 96, probably shortly after Pac died. I moved back before Pac died, I moved back to Alabama because I remember the Machiavelli parties in Mobile. Shout out to everybody in Mobile, man. The Machiavelli parties was everybody used to sit there after he died and just try to dissect it. Like, oh man, why did he die? And it was like the album came out a week after he died. It was live though. It was live. But yeah,
and I remember at Creek, they did a tribute at E Building. They like put up all sorts of they had a mural, not a
you know what they call E Building, right?
Yeah,
that's the black. Look, there is actually a Facebook group called the E Building. Shout out to everybody who's in E Building and know what E Building means.
Yeah. For some reason, I haven't got an invite to that, but
Oh, you know what? All right.
Sometimes
so
I do get invited.
What do they call the people under the look? Do you remember who the people who like? So E Building's here. Who hung out in front of what was that building? E. So I guess it was D Building. Who hung out in front of D Building?
D Building.
So it's slightly to the right of E Building.
Wasn't that just kind of like the preppy kids, like the baseball players?
I think it was like the kickers. What we call the kickers. Remember the KIKK?
The kickers were they were kind of across the way at the wall.
On the wall. Okay. So they were on the wall. It might have been the preppy kids. I remember, you had like the preppy. I was amazed. It felt like I was like in like a after school special when I came to Texas. It's like in Alabama, there is no It's just some black people over here. It's like 3 or 4 white people in the whole school. And it's just like it's like you got the gangsters, you got the dope dealers, you got the football players. Ain't no preppies, because if you got anybody who's like in the school and nerd, they hiding it. They already left school. They ran home. But it was just like not that many divisions. You like then you got the ones that's like in workshop, they gonna be a mechanic when they grow up. Then you got the ones trying to get the girls, you got the fast girls, the slow girls, then you got the big girls, or you got the ones that could dance. It wasn't a lot, it wasn't like divisions like that, but seeing those divisions, I was just like, wow, like it's like totally different. And I remember at one time kickers and E building, we about to get into it. It was a whole race. And the crazy thing about it, the football players couldn't just, they was like, man, we got to stop this, because they realized like, bro, like you my brother, like we play football together, but that's my real brother, like, you know, but most of them, that's when I realized Creek, like it was a different breed of white people, what I was used to. I don't know if that sounds politically incorrect. It was what it was. I only knew black and white. White people didn't like black people that didn't like white people. And I came to Texas, it was a big old melting pot. And I had to tell them, like, some of these white boys out here the coolest nigga I know.
Yeah. So you feel
straight up like that.
So in Alabama, there was a division, like, and you're not messing with other people. Like that's,
well,
I think,
yeah, it happened.
My dad grew up in Georgia. That's kind of how it was, and where my mom grew up in North Carolina. And of course, that was a different time, but that was very much the way it was back then. And
well, I mean, like, I think it was 86. We had like a George Floyd thing happen in 86. Like Michael Donner got hung. He whistled at a white girl. 3 white boys hung him, stabbed him, shot him, pissed on him, then set him on fire. In the 80s, in 1984, I believe, I think it was 84, and then hung him in his grandmama's front yard and set him on fire. Yeah, divided the city. It was just like East Mobile, black people, West Mobile. My daddy stayed right in the middle of West Mobile, though. he was a defiant brother. He didn't
stay in the white neighborhood.
It was well-to-do black by the time I actually got there. As a kid, I wasn't allowed there because I was a kid outside that marriage. We're gonna talk about that on a different day. But yeah, West Mobile out there was white people. Yeah, it was just West Mobile period. It's like once you cross 65, I-65 comes straight through there, which comes off I-10. That was West Mobile, and the white people stayed over there. But it was a big division because of the Michael Donner thing. It was like somebody that he was around my brothers in them age, but he was somebody that would hang around when we played football. Football was so big, like this street and this neighborhood played, and the older cats would sit around and bet and coach. And he was one of them older cats that was just hanging out there. And a couple of days after he's watching us play football, he gets hung and killed. And dude, it was one of those times where, like, I was just hell bent on no white girls. Like, you crazy? Like, you're not getting me killed. Like, so coming to Texas and seeing all the interracial. First time a white girl called me a nigga, and I almost choked and killed her. Yeah, it was assimilation is what it's called, assimilation. But it was culture shock for me, and a lot of people didn't get it because they didn't realize like where I came from. It's just like, oh, you from Alabama, like, but they don't realize like where I came from. It was, like I say, you go from 3 to 4 black people in the classroom up here, where it's 3 to 4 white people in the entire school. And now,
I think I told you this. My first kiss was a black girl, and she that
explains a lot. That explains a lot, Red. That explains a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, but I also went, I got to say this, I went to North Carolina to a family reunion on my mom's side when it was probably about 1990. And I was wearing like Bulls stuff and Miami Hurricanes and just that was the way I dressed. And I went there and no white people dressed anywhere like that. And I was completely out of character. I was out of, and my mom's town, that's hilarious. My mom's town still has a railroad track with a black side of town and a white side of town back then. And they say
really from the wrong side of the tracks. Yeah, wrong side.
I go to my